very good job.
Thank you, sir.
Take it under consideration.
The other thing I would like to bring to consideration is another full-time code enforcement building inspector jointly. Doing both, I have a gentleman that's willing to jump on it for $15 an hour who has experience.
Let's talk about that tomorrow,
But I just,
because we're gonna, I'd already worked on that this weekend in my head, I guess you could say. I
Yes.
talked to Eddie Friday, leaving the parking lot.
Mhm.
We're gonna be to the point where we're not gonna have any choice. And if you'll, tonight's meeting, you're gonna see the numbers and the permitting numbers.
Yes, sir.
But I planned on presenting that, or actually getting with Kathy today, just happened not to be. No, it's perfect information. I'm glad you found something. But let's talk about it in the morning, because
Yes,
I
sir.
wanna hear more about it and see how we can get this worked out, but.
Yes, sir.
All right. And you're gonna share that with us, then? at that
Sure,
point?
sure.
Okay.
And we got a layout plan as well for down there as well. I can submit after all this.
What?
Everything together
Oh, yeah.
as well, because all my recommendations, I've talked to the entire department in the past 3 weeks I've been running.
Yeah. What he's referring to is gonna come into play as far as, and Kathy can get you the numbers. Our contract fee for, building inspections is astronomical. It's $85 an inspection, almost guaranteed 15 a day with no backup plan. Because, used to, we had 2 building inspectors, but we have 1, so if Eddie takes a day off, we potentially lose, if he's out 2 days, or if he takes a week off, I mean, we're 15,000, well, she's got the numbers right there, we're probably 15,000 into just contract services as it is, with still no backup plan.
And that's with me running
Yeah.
on all footings and electrical
You're doing,
As well.
okay, is that what you're doing all the footings in the left,
when Eddie's
Well,
out.
when Eddie's out?
When Eddie's out, and then I help when we get overloaded as well, and then oversee all the existing permits as well, seeing that they're filled out because he doesn't have time.
In 2020, it was $23,352 for
In contract services, so and that was realistically probably 11 days worth of work. Well, I'm sorry, that's
$85
20 days worth of work,
$85 a drop,
but on
it
average,
goes
10 a day, or more.
well, 85 a drop, and then he gets 200 if he's at one location for an hour or
And mileage.
more. And mileage, thank you, I forgot.
Yeah, and mileage.
And I guess just
15, not much.
for so the person that you're recommending, I mean, they definitely have the background and
They could do footings and electrical day one, I'm not
Yes.
sure if all their certifications are
The
current.
other way,
And it's coming from the.
but they could get them current.
I was just
But
trying to get
I
the
had
total
a
number.
conversation today with him when I was able to
Somebody
take a 30-minute lunch today.
$15 an
And,
hour right there.
I
That's without
actually
benefits.
spent the whole time speaking to
It's
him.
20.
Okay.
If the benefit's
And,
$5 an hour.
he'd be a benefit both sides to help alleviate that.
4,300
And then when
times
Mr. Eddie goes towards retirement, somebody that,
what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put
Well.
together
4,000.
and,
Kathy, does your form show you how many days that was for?
No.
Okay. I'm gonna put together a package, y'all can see it, but I think we need to really look at it because,
Sounds like it.
20 days, that kind of money versus having somebody here for a full year for right at the same money, a little bit more, but a whole lot more hours in-house.
and that's with me coming in and doing most of the court for Eddie as well, so he can get back out on the field on court days.
Well, you may come
Does
back
our,
before us
does
before
our
it's
fee
over.
structure cover the expenses that we?
Okay, from building inspection or the code side or permitting, because that's an egg with multiple yolks. Bam, poultry farmer joke. All right. If you can't make them laugh, they won't give you money. All right. Which end would you like to know about first?
Well, I guess you're talking about the inspections and stuff like that. I mean, somebody's obviously building something, they're budgeted, to do something.
We're 6 years behind on inspection, as far as looking at rescheduling our fines, or not fines, but the fees for permitting. We're about 6 years behind everybody else. and I
Which
hope it's okay,
Yeah.
I took it on myself
Go ahead.
to make sure everything, I don't mean to speak.
No, you're fine, son.
I went ahead and tried to look at the whole picture because I enforced the whole picture, from Lamar to the clerk's office to probate to magistrate, everything but Superior. I've tried to make time to take a look at, and that is some management of time skills right there. We're at least 6 years behind on our permitting side, on our fee structure, on the building side alone. I'd say we're 10 years behind. One of the first things I did when I came in was update Madison County's code enforcement fee schedule, but I don't have the ability to enforce that. I handed it off to Judge Patton after several of us had talked about it, and we use it as a level of recommendation, since I can't tell the judge what to charge somebody in his own court, but I can make some strong recommendations, believe you me. So I feel like we brought up code enforcement to date, and that was a huge revenue changer, to say the least, for when somebody does go outside of those barriers. But building inspection, to get a demolition permit, and you don't have to necessarily show us that you demolished it to code, $30. But we're spending 4 or 5 days trying to make sure they're demolishing it correctly, and just doing drive-bys, whether it be Eddie or me working in a 2-hour route that's taken away from other things. For what we charge a permit, we can't fill a truck up with gas, even before this.
Yeah.
So it's something we definitely need to take into consideration, sir.
Okay.
I don't want to charge everybody an arm and a leg for building a house, but making sure they're doing it to spec and code, we've got to cover our own rear ends. I can say that redacted, otherwise out there.
Well, I mean, it's a balance. I mean, you don't want to, I'm not saying it should be profit generating, but, but as a taxpayer, if you're, I'm gonna say, not building something today, you're subsidizing your neighbor or your family member building something when, and I'm just, again, not saying it should be a profit generating thing, but there should be some equity in.
Just to cover the cost of the inspection.
Yeah.
Well, when we're charging a flat permit for commercial, $300, I think, when it all comes out, but somebody building a 1,850 square foot heated space home is spending $600. So you can come and build a Walmart and permit it for cheaper than a man can build a house, or a woman. God, politically correct, I'm sorry. But y'all see what I'm talking about. We've got a little catching up to do in some areas.
Sure.
All right, thank you,
Thank
Christopher.
you.
We may
Thanks,
see you
Chris.
again before it's over with, but we're gonna work tomorrow or the next day or two, trying to compile information. We'll get it out there to you as fast as possible, guys.
I don't answer when you call the office. I swear I'll call you when I get back.
All right,
You've done a good job of that.
all right, this concludes,
Whenever you get that done, I want to see all that fee structure.
yeah,
All that.
we'll show you what it is and where we would like to go.
Yeah.
Uh,
Can I say one thing? That's one, meetings like this, is one reason I think I sent out an email talking about how I'd like to see all the folks come and talk to us in the departments and the elected officials. This is one of the reasons, because I think it just enlightens us to a lot of things, and we get to ask questions of very intelligent people who get to help us.
Right.
So,
No, I'm sorry.
So, we don't need a motion to close the work session, 5:58. I would say that the work session agenda is adjourned for tonight. We got 2 minutes until the next meeting starts.
there we go.
Christopher, thank you. You don't have to hang out unless you just want to.
I was looking at the truck report, that's not enough money for me to buy a behind, and I need a Ferrari and code for it.
We print one page.
They don't make a truck, a lap steel makes tractors.
Hey, it's code enforcement, and a Lamborghini tractor.
I'll give it a try for the
Cam, howdy.
Y'all down there.
I did, if you were concerned, I'd be happy to put it back up. No, I'd be quite concerned about getting laundry cookies. Well, no, I was bored. Yeah. That's true.
More fun don't think I've got any problem other than weight,
I never did. I don't know if you got my email or not. I don't know if I can trust that man with the words he says in that email or not. That sure was not. He's a pretty good guy. Thank you for the phone call. Thank you.
Yes.
I think the 1731 or 38 Pine Valley Road that we were starting to do some abatement on,
Right.
is done.
What happened?
They kicked the crack Hanson off. That's literally what it was.
Yeah.
Another brother stepped in, bulldozed everything down.
Oh,
And they
excellent.
got the property under contract, we're holding them until December 15th. But the second one I
Got another
sent
one, yeah.
you, the Glen Carey,
Yeah, still gotta go. I
he's
still.
been in jail for 2 months. So.
That's all right, we can serve him there, we know where he is.
But he's, well, the bad part is, I've got 3 people that didn't make it nice side me in court, and, all 3 of them were in jail. And I was able in time to get one out of jail, and then, as soon as he comes out, he's gonna go right back in another county.
Right. Well, see, this is a civil proceeding, so if he can't get here because he's in jail, that's his problem.
Yeah.
But,
He's got another problem.
Yeah, that's right.
It's been so much fun. Elbert County was really surprised, I had them transport one guy up here so that he could face his mother and sister in court and sign the papers over for the property. Because he'd been locked up and they couldn't do it, well, I got him here, we got it knocked out.
So, you know, I saw that other one, still need Jack's, you know, number and that, I mean, not Jack,
Eddie.
Eddie's number.
That's smart.
And that-
Which when he called me, I know who he is now. Yeah, we did, after we talked about it, and then.
I think one,
I
he
did.
had changed, something was in yellow.
That's what they named him.
Yeah, I know that one as an example, but I don't have his numbers or anything, and he's gotta get it all.
And I think he was waiting to hear the way he had changed it to appropriate.
And Nick Bennett,
Oh, I don't remember getting it back from him.
they were, and they just, as
Okay,
a
yeah.
freshman, I tried, they told me just to try.
Otherwise-
Could be my mistake. It has been
And I just
my
lay
mistake.
down the ground and
But
coached
a
it.
judge wants to use it on another case as
Uh-huh.
well. That
So his name stuck, he called me that for the rest of it.
I don't know if I can do it that fast, because he's thinking,
People still know.
Yeah,
me,
there's a, yeah, I mean,
the communication gap we had talked about, skipping some steps.
Yeah, yeah, and after I said,
I didn't show him
And
what we
he
had
called
worked
me,
on
and I
yet.
said,
So I wanted to make sure we were
you
both
shouldn't have.
Right.
on the same page, thinking this was a good layout.
yeah, did that outline make sense to you?
Oh, I loved it.
Okay.
I did, and then, there was a template. I believe, there was 2 attachments, I think one was a template, and
Yeah.
all I did was change the Madison County code number.
Right.
Madison, Clark County to Madison County.
Right.
And it's placed, see if that,
Yeah,
had
that's
your
fine.
approval.
That's
Yeah,
good.
So I think the last one was that
We
second
didn't mind
attachment,
him because he can.
that was Eddie's,
Yeah,
template to work with, so to say, and so I don't know what's
okay,
going on.
maybe I misinterpreted and he had already changed it, and I thought it was something, sorry. Okay.
It's casual, but not sit on the table casual.
Well, all right, I'll get up there and talk about that.
Okay.
Thank you for your approach too, by the way, that was the absolute right way to do
That's right.
it, your approach.
Oh, trick or treat. Gotta stay humble, right? Yeah, when y'all have blessed evening. And you too. I don't care what they say, I'm glad.
I else needs some part-time help, he's available.
Let me get on.
All right, give me my glasses.
Don't start. She numbered my packets so I could try to keep me on track.
Everybody needs a little supervision.
I see number 1, number 5, and number 6. Where'd number 2 and 3 go? 4.
Well, you don't have to, 3 is your chairman's report.
Gotcha.
I did like that.
You just need to put a blank page and put 3 on it.
That's right, yeah. Skip this one, Todd. Anyway, I apologize. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Madison County regular business meeting agenda, October 25th, 2021 at 6:05 p.m. We just finished the first of our budget sessions, started at 5 p.m. Everybody has a copy of, let's try this business meeting. I'm sorry, I thought it was work session. Please stand for the pledge. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
My apologies, I thought it was the beginning of the month, and this was a work session. Dennis Adams is not going to be with us tonight. He is out of town. You have before you a copy of the minutes from September 27th, regular business meeting, October 4th, agenda setting work session, and the minutes from October 21st special call meeting. If you don't mind, I'll ask for a motion to approve these minutes and tonight's agenda in one motion.
And the minutes be approved as presented and the agenda as well.
There's a motion by Mr. Chandler. Do I have a second?
Second.
Any discussion? Hearing none. Brian?
Yes.
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 Business involving guest groups or multiple visitors. Hearing none. Chairman's report. Most everybody already knows. It's in the newspaper right now, and that's the tire amnesty will end November 6th. Early voting has commenced on the 25th through the 29th at the Board of Elections office. The general election day will be November 2nd. American Recycle Day, Saturday, November 13th from 10 to 12 at the Madison County Government Complex. This includes the shredding. I know, Zach, you're running all these right now, so I won't get into too much detail with them unless somebody has a question on them. Redistricting map is redistricting is coming up, and we have reached out to the state reappointment office for their assistance with the proposed map. We have received back a preliminary map, and I think that's going to be a meeting.
At the end of the month, we'll bring it up.
Just for the record, there will be some change due to population.
No, we put it on the agenda for the 1st, that's next Monday.
Yeah.
For that work session. So I'll be able to email that out to y'all tomorrow, the copies that we have.
I have a couple concerns, and one is the redistricting map. Currently, I think we're still using bad numbers. I think our census totals are off. And if we redistrict the way they're requesting it now, and then we dispute those census numbers, it may change it again. So I don't know that we may have to do it twice, but being told that several counties in the state of Georgia is disputing the census numbers.
I've seen some talk on the county attorney listserv about it, but also about at least some suggestion that it's futile to do it because the General Assembly is going to go ahead and redistrict based on the existing numbers if your appeal doesn't get heard in time. So
Okay.
that's something we can look
So
into.
we could redistrict. I'm just saying it may still have to be changed later down the road.
Yeah.
Again, if new numbers are defined. And the reason I'm disputing this from our county standpoint, for many reasons, there's some financial aspect back to the county based on population, and the numbers they're showing us to only have like a 800 population increase, but yet if you do the city increases total, it surpasses what they're saying the county roads, so it don't make any sense. Somebody somewhere missed the ball. But either way, you'll have a map in front of you by November 1st, or before then, we'll send them out. Teacher's proclamation was given on October 12th at the Isla Restaurant. I went up along with Jimmy Patton from the sheriff's office, and that was retired teachers. We had a good day that day. Really enjoyed seeing some of those ladies and gentlemen. Courthouse Division Quarterly Report. I have it. It should be in your packet. This was for the ending of September, 1st of October. It's hard to believe that 46,800 people come through this building year to date. That's a lot of folks. You could see the breakdown there. You might want a copy of this, Zach, for the paper. I mean, I'm not gonna go into detail about how many got denied and how many had weapons or not weapons, so, but, it's all here for anybody who wants to view it.
Okay.
Building and zoning, September monthly report, 53 permits, 1 timber permit, 334 inspections. Now this breakdown will help justify some of the numbers that you'll probably see. I may send these back out tomorrow or the next day when we get with Christopher. But
This is these building permits.
yeah. So the building permits gets a little more in depth. Just in 2021, as of, I think this was also October 1. These numbers were provided through September. And we're at 207 permits, and we didn't have but 220 all of 2020. So this year's gonna surpass a building increase by a good bit. Want to give that one to Zach also, just so he can see it. We did receive the Georgia Broadband Ready Community Certification, and so we are moving forward. We have contacted all the players in the game on broadband. There's some grant stuff that we have updated. Now that we have that certification, the plaque is in the office, in Christina's office now. October 22nd, presented a proclamation to the Board of Education for being ranked number 10th best public school in Georgia. Huge accomplishment to those gentlemen, or ladies and gentlemen, for such a fine job. That was a good day also. Terry attended also with me. October 23rd, this past Saturday, the Rotary came out and constructed, y'all probably had about 20 members, didn't you, out there? There's at least 18 or 20 of them out there.
Members and volunteers.
Yeah, members of volunteers from the Rotary to build the ramp on the back of the Board of Elections' new office. That was the final touches for that building. Now it's ADA compliant. A couple things I just wanted to add to the chairman report real quickly is first shout out to the Madison County Middle School team for winning regions. Went 8-0 with a 28-0 shutout of Franklin County to win that championship. Good job, young men. It was a great job done. And I haven't heard any updates on our girls softball, but they are an Elite 8 as of still, maybe. I don't know. They were
Thursday.
okay. But, that's all I have on the chairman's report. I'll get to roads later. Statements, remarks from citizens on tonight's agenda. Any questions or comments from anybody? All right. Old business, discuss the 2022 LMEG Road project. Gentlemen, we got to move fairly quickly on this. just was timing more than anything, is what we've got, we're up against. It looks like there's gonna be a large list, and just keep in mind, every road is important. Please factor in volume. One of the hardest things I have to do every day is explain to somebody why their road is not ever on the list, and there's 2 people that lives on it, and it's really hard to do that. But take into all considerations, please, when you're making this list. I know we have one from Dennis already, with a couple roads listed on it. Yeah, just get your LMIG roads to us as quickly as possible, because we'll also ride them and try to help you prioritize and get the list together before we can get back together. This, if y'all could get me something, I would love to have it before November 1st, but it don't have to be. We can put it on December, but we'll need to discuss it, because we'll weed out, not gonna say weed out, but we'll try to prioritize them in a work session more so than a business meeting.
So, I think my road that I've added is down there already in pencil on this list, correct?
Yes, Macedonia.
Yeah, okay.
Now, if everybody is content with these roads and feel like there's no more needs to be added, we can do that.
I think what would help me though a little bit is, can Alan, or can, I guess, provide a little bit of description of why they want, what their need is on that road. And for example, like Russell Drive and Cooper, that's trying to get vehicles to the plant, right? I mean,
Yeah, and it's also.
the feed mill, I'm talking,
That'd be HB Chandler, I think.
not the feed mill.
No.
Oh, that
Those-
was, yeah.
Because, I mean, I wanna try to understand it, because when you do go ride and look at it, there ain't but one house out there. I mean, that's what I'm trying to,
Yeah,
and
Yeah.
that's hard to justify
it is.
with other people, so, I mean, I just like
It is,
Aaron Brown Road, I mean, again,
but they call every day though.
I understand.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's rough as hell, but I get it,
Just
exactly like I
HB
was
Chandler,
talking
like,
about.
I mean,
I agree.
and HB Chandler, I mean, we talked, man, I said the plant too, but like HB Chandler, we know, and I'm pretty confident the responsibility of fixing the railroad track area falls
Yeah.
to the plant, due to the contractual obligations there. However, you know, there's some other work that needs to be done outside the footprint of the railroad.
Well, one of the roads that I wanna focus on, most, because it does require a lot of labor, and that's gonna be Lim Edwards Road. If I had to say, Lim Edwards Road is probably the most dangerous road, only because the trees are so close to the road that all have to be removed, they're all in the right of way, and there is no shoulder.
No, I agree, I get several
Yeah.
calls,
So that road is gonna be the most labor intensive, and it'll rank high on the list.
Right. So,
And
I guess the other thing is, the reason why, and then, I guess, this list right here is just what's been compiled. The original list here was compiled by who?
Alan,
Alan?
based off of their phone calls.
Based off of phone calls and what we thought that
Correct.
would be all right. So the additional would be, we would have to probably replace something on that list.
I would love to have I would love for every commissioner to turn in 5 roads that's not on this list, and we'll take that list of 25, Allen's roads and y'all's 20, and we'll ride those roads and make a 1 through 10 prioritization out beside them as to what rides what.
that's what I mean, and I'm fine with that, I'm just trying to get to a point where we're not, and don't get me wrong, I understand phone calls and complaints,
Yeah.
identify problems.
Sure.
However, I also need to get past the point of, you know, one person calling
Oh,
every
yeah,
day.
no, I don't
versus-
factor that in at all.
You know,
Yeah.
I know, but I mean,
Yeah.
trying to get to objective responsibility is what I'm trying to get to.
Right. Sure.
Is some sort of. You know.
Well, school buses is a big part of it.
Sure.
School buses, ambulances, and sheriff's department is a big part of it. It's, I ain't gonna say hilarious, but the phone call was, they thanked us for paving Swamp Guinea, and then on the same phone call, asked could we install speed bumps, because now that the potholes is fixed, people has increased their speed, and now it's dangerous before they slow down. So it's a double-edged sword, but it was a highly traveled road and it had to be done. With that, you know,
I'll put some on there, and I know they all can't be funded, but it just goes back to the need for the T-Splosh that, I mean.
well, I feel like
Like
if
even
the
the roads
T-Splosh passes, we'll have a good list to say, okay, LMAG's gonna do this, but T-Splosh. Now, laws will change, I think. If T-Splosh passes, our loss will increase.
Oh, I don't know about that aspect of it.
Yeah. So, having that list of 25, even if we pick our LMAG roads and then several months down the road, T-Splosh passes, we still have that road list to go by. So we don't have to start back over.
And I don't remember that, I have to dig it.
Yeah, I don't know about that.
What's the trigger that responds?
Chairman Doe was telling me the other day that, there was a mechanism somewhere in the lost and the splosh that the T-Splosh follows, and they work hand in hand. So if you increase one, the other automatically increases. That he had looked into back years ago.
Can we get the mileage on the Madison Church Road, cause I know it's in District 4 and 2, and it's a long road, so that's one reason I hadn't added more, because I don't think we wanna do a part of the road.
Well,
I suppose we wanna do the stuff in District 2, not just District.
That'd be first. We'll start with District 2 in.
well, now, myself and Alan did meet
I'm being facetious.
with the paving contractors, well, all ex-DOT guys, and to talk about different types of surfacing, and they had some really good suggestions on what will carry a road over 8 years at a minimal cost versus just doing a basic topping. You
Oh,
know.
yeah. Well,
So we're definitely gonna factor that on these long roads, because everyone at this table knows that if we just done Nice Commerce, it would take all of our money for that whole year just to do that 1 7-mile
Yep.
road. So
that's.
that's the hard part about the
But,
vision.
yeah, and I guess that's sort of like what I'm getting at is we, you know, the decision on what we say we're gonna do depends on the money, and so I guess we gotta sort of have some idea of what we're looking at as far as
You
the
can
cost of
base, you
that.
can base your LMAG, every year runs about $1.25 million, $1.5 million,
Yeah.
something like that. Right now, asphalt is up. If we done 10 roads last year, you're probably gonna do 9 this year, based off inflation.
But it depends on the length of the road, though.
Sure, it does.
Yeah.
If every
Road
road
goes
has-
up 40%, whatever you said a minute ago.
That's all tied to petroleum.
Yeah.
That's right.
And I think we're in a mess. Actually, that was just on regular gas. Natural gas is going up 54% as of noon.
Can you
Y'all
imagine
get a news flash across about that?
how much asphalt goes up and then just the haul?
Yeah.
Our roads last long because everybody be staying home more.
Yeah.
Either way, when we get our list, if we can make sure that we notify our municipal brothers and sisters, that way, in the past, we've been either chastised or failure to communicate, so I don't know if we got any roads that stop at us city limits, but what we need to do is just make
I've
sure
already-
they're aware of what.
Yeah, I spoke with Chris Pack on it. You know, last year we helped, Comer. We're fixing to help Danielsville a little bit on a little small section they've got, and Chris Pack's already brought one to my attention, so it's out there already. But it's good because they're asking for help, and I'm proud that they literally come to us and say it for a change. So that's good news. All right, old business, consider adopting Bluestone Hill Lane. This was discussed probably about a month ago, I think, and brought it back up. I have no problems if y'all would like, because, well, never mind, this is nothing. If there's any question on this, I'll try to answer them. I was with Alan when we went out there, and I was with him when we met with the neighbors.
We've done all our due diligence on that.
Every bit of it is complete.
I would look at it, so.
I don't have a problem doing it, I still want us to spend some time, not necessarily tonight, but on the whole issue of what are the criteria that we use to decide we are gonna accept a road. And at what point, and I had this conversation with the IDA director about, water lines and fire hydrants in existing subdivisions. And somebody took the money and ran and developed these, and they were left holding the bag.
We gotta do
You
it.
are correct.
Yeah.
So, the criteria me and Alan used, for even considering this, and told the property owners, okay, go out and get us the letters, and if you get the letters, then we'll bring it to the board and see, was we looked at how many houses and what length road. Now, I'll be the first one to say, if you come to me and say, hey, I built my house 1.5 miles down this dirt road, and now there's 2 more people live on it, I want it paved, that's your fault. What I looked at was, okay, there's 12 houses, serving 12 houses, and it's about 1/2 mile long, or less than 1/2 mile long. And there was some other criteria, and this one was, the road was already the right width, the ditches were already established. The only problem is the road was just all to pieces, and we had some problems down in the cul-de-sac getting ambulances in and out, and they were having to carry them up a hill. But it met about 4 or 5 different criteria, but it does need to be put in writing. It must state, because I'm not just adopting everybody's roads, just because they feel like a need for it. It has to be a justifiable reason.
So do you already have the right-of-way deeds from all the property owners?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so a vote to adopt the road would also be to approve recording those deeds.
Just for explanation, I may have done it in the work session, I don't know. But the reason I changed that procedure from the way it used to be done
Mm-hmm.
was because they would come before us, or come before the board and ask, would you take our road over? And then the board could potentially get into a convoluted conversation about it. And then they go out and get it, and they find that somebody wouldn't sign, so you wasted all that time, all that effort of argument. So it's better to get that done first, and if they fail, we'll never see it. And if they don't fail, then
At least at one point that was talked about, and that's what we were supposed to have been doing, is get the deeds ahead of time, but it might have lapsed along the way.
Well, we've had a group out there now that has a very short road, but there's one property owner that won't sign it.
Right.
And it's a good, I ain't gonna say that's a good thing, but if we would've deliberated it first and then find out that it fell through, it would've been every one of us a waste of time. So
Exactly.
I like the productive measure of going this route.
Is there any corrective actions that need to be made on that road? I mean, is there a cost? I mean, as soon as we adopt it, is it?
Other than, the only cost that it's gonna take us on this road is we're gonna have about 3 days of reshaping the ditches, just because we prefer to do them a little deeper and turn the water in that cul-de-sac area in a different direction. But other than just gravel and blading it before the gravel goes down, none. Alan said this is probably gonna be a 1-week project. It'll probably be the easiest road we've ever adopted, and even the mailboxes has already moved back. We're not gonna have to replace a whole bunch of, driveway pipes. Most of the driveway pipes are back. Whoever done it originally done it right, but then they just stopped and left it over to the property owners. It actually almost looks like it was paved at one time, but it's not.
But in the future, I mean, I don't want to go tell a property owner something different than y'all kind of already talked and agreed upon. I mean, from a policy standpoint, is it something that we should consider that it has to be brought up to?
To a certain standard?
Yeah, I mean, and they pay the cost of that.
It could be.
I think so in the future,
We
As soon as we
could
adopt
very
it,
well.
Now we gotta go
Right.
spend money
It's
on
our
it.
job.
And like Terry said, somebody developed it, took it on, you know, somebody bought a house on it realizing that. I'm just,
We could put the
I just
burden,
wanna be careful on, hey, this is it.
we could put and again, it'd be how we would write that contract. We haven't promised anything. As of right now, we said, okay, you're a good candidate for it, you've got your documentation, now we'll take it to the board for consideration. Now, we could technically vote tonight to approve it on condition of, if you need a driveway pipe that's 18 inches because you have a 15 inch, that's your responsibility. We'll install it, but you have to purchase it, because we gotta blade the ditch anyway. If they would assume that responsibility, that could be part of the criteria.
So you think there would be some of those that we'd have to do? I wrote down it, but, I mean, I didn't look in that much detail. I agree with you, it's not that bad except down there in the cul-de-sac, because it's in the area.
We can set whatever criteria you all would like.
Well,
and we
I
can
guess
do it
that's
for the
kinda
future.
what my heartburn is just kinda here on the
Right.
fly, can we work on that?
Yeah.
Sure.
Just to give us an idea of what would be the gravel cost.
Not a problem.
The motor grading, we've got people already on the payroll, but also we're purchasing gravel, so how many tons of gravel that be? And then what would the per residence cost be for the gravel? It would help me to learn where to go on this decision if we know, so what kind of.
Absolutely. So
We're looking at-
what I would suggest do tonight is to, just table this, postpone it. I won't do anything. I won't ask for a motion until we get more clarity, and that way it just
Yeah.
stands still.
Yeah.
And from a policy standpoint, I'll ask the council, is this in the future moving forward, and I'm glad this one supposedly won't take a lot of work, from the homeowner standpoint. But let's just say if there's one that is just flat up awful, and it needs a lot of work, it's gonna take a lot of time, and even maybe outside resources or whatnot. Is that something, if we elected to adopt, is that something that you could apply, like a special tax allocation district just on those homes or those lots, I shouldn't say homes, on the property there, so that group is only paying, the rest of the county's not picking up something that has been,
That's a good idea.
snuck in lately or something?
That is a great idea. Yeah, and actually I mentioned that to a county attorney friend of mine, and he confirmed, yeah, that's absolutely a proper use of a special tax district.
Okay.
Yeah, the only downside to that is if it's the guy up on the corner, and he don't have a problem with it because his driveway don't hit the ruts. You have to fix the rest of it for the rest of them because they have to get to their house. I mean, I don't know, I'm sure we could work it out, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's a way to work it out, and I think it's a great
If
idea.
he's on the corner, he's got frontage on both, I mean,
Yeah.
it may behoove him in the future date to move his driveway due to safety reasons. I mean,
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I don't believe you need 100% for a special tax district.
Okay.
Yeah, so.
Well, please look into that, and,
Yeah.
these people are not pushing, they clearly said, hey, we've been here all these years, this month ain't gonna matter, so they're good.
So a special tax district can just be like 4 or 5 houses, or a certain?
It can, a lot of times, where I've seen them is, Oconee County uses them for streetlights, when you have subdivisions that are already developed, and their internal policy is if a certain percentage, and I don't remember what it is, but something more than a majority of the homeowners in there, so, sign off saying they want a special tax district to put in streetlights, the county will impose it and do it, and it just goes on the tax bill.
I got you.
And then that would give us the opportunity to spread that cost out to them over a window of time instead of hitting it lump sum.
Correct. Yeah.
And is there a
So
time
we
frame
could
that?
assign a 5-year, or is that a
Yeah.
debatable discussion, or do we have to, does that have to be set in stone, or?
Well, I don't think it has to be set in stone. As a matter of fact, yeah, I mean, usually it's ongoing. Jackson County uses special tax districts for their fire departments. Each fire
They're gonna
department has a special tax district.
That's how they do, they got one mill, but that's how they do it.
Right.
They do it, yeah.
Yeah.
And again, I'm thinking on the lines of something equity, some
Yeah.
equals.
That's
Like,
right.
if we approved a new subdivision today and somebody would pay the expense to put the road in, to do all the stuff that they're supposed to do,
They have to.
at least say one time.
Yeah, that currently is required, new subdivision. all
Right,
roads, yeah.
but I'm saying to adopt a new road, you recoup the cost of
Yeah.
bringing it up to speed, doing it, and maybe it's taking it from gravel to paved, maybe that's also included. And so it's a 10-year, 15-year window, I don't know,
Right,
just
yeah.
something that we don't have to keep putting resources in it until it's time for,
Right.
something on equitable par
Yeah.
would say, okay, now, you adopted it, when it was fresh, now, you've taken ownership and maintenance of it.
Right. The other side of this, and it'd be a tough one, Nancy, I don't know how you get this from being subjective to objective, but if Allen goes out there and a road like the one we're talking about here, it's pretty easy, you go out there, the road's great for a few days, but you got another one that's significantly more work to do that, so how can you make that how can you take out of the hands just being a judgment call? So
It's tough, and what I would like for you to do,
if there's
know the
excessive
difference.
grading cost, if there's grading cost above, then could that be added to it as well?
So from a legal standpoint, economic decisions that aren't based on, you know, those protected characteristics that you can't discriminate on, it's just a rational basis test. So if there's some rationality in saying, Bluestone, the cost of imposing and administering a special tax district would be not worth what you would collect from it, but you got another one that it is, that's a rational basis, and that would stand up legally.
Okay.
so, Brian, you've already read, rode this road?
Yeah.
Now, what I would like for you to do, everybody, is ride this road, just so you got a mental vision of what a good road is prior to us adopting. And I know, I don't need that to come across wrong, people don't think, why they're adopting a good road. I don't mean it that way, it meets all requirements of being adopted, let's put it that way. And then go ride the one directly across from the entrance of the dump. And that way you can see,
Bobby Jr. or whatever that is.
it's something like
Bobby,
that.
Bobby Road.
But it's short, it's only from one end of the building to the other, but it's got ruts
Yeah.
18 inches deep.
It will.
And I don't know how they get a car in it.
Well, it will tear up a fire truck, 'cause.
Well, that's what I'm concerned with it, so, man. And a lot of people, it's not about the money, so I think that tax will work, that tax allocation will. Most of them just says, we don't have the equipment, or we're too old to do it, or don't know who to contact. And they would probably go for that.
And even the ones that are, you know, on a, you know, either maybe that road in particular, you know, maybe if it's more expensive, you know, it's spread out over time, and it's not,
We could afford to do
Yeah.
it.
you know, and
I agree.
it's, you know, either gonna be
I think we're on a
paid,
good-
if
a good
they sell it
plan.
and walk away from it, you know, it's still attached. So it's not a broken promise or something.
That's right.
Compared to that being an individual's process, where
Yeah.
one person on the road decides to take the responsibility for their section, but everybody else benefits from their work. Yeah, that's
Yep.
All right, so we got a plan, we'll work with that, thank you.
good.
Consider request for proposal for uniform coach apparel for Madison County Rec Department, where did she go?
He's on the phone.
She had an emergency phone call.
Don't we have?
You wanna tell us about it?
I can, but if you want to, we could skip that.
All right, what I'll do is I'm gonna go ahead and skip it.
They're all the rec departments with number 12.
Right. If I skip them all, we're gonna go home.
Well, let's not do that. We could skip to number 11, because that one's mine.
Well, actually, you got
Let's
9
go ahead and
through
hear
12
about
on consent agenda,
Yeah.
so,
That's all.
and everybody approved it, so
But some-
unless somebody wants to change their mind, that means you just take a motion and vote on those and you're done.
There we go.
Sorry, it's raining and we gotta get it going.
It's what? Come on up.
It's raining and we gotta get it
We're-
going. Oh,
It's raining. It does not need to be raining.
it's pouring down rain outside.
Are you
Oh,
kidding?
gosh.
Good.
So, my phone is now blowing up with.
Gary, you get that sewed, right? It's raining? All right, young lady, consider request proposal uniform coach apparel Madison County Rec Department.
So, really, nothing's changed from what I presented at the beginning
Okay.
of the month.
Wasn't you,
This is,
The only thing that was changed was the special event policy with Derek mentioning the law enforcement portion being added.
I'm on number 7 and number 8.
I know, I'm just saying,
Oh,
like everything
All,
that,
you know, if the information's still the same as what she presented.
oh,
Yeah.
so
again,
7
so-
through 12 technically is all the same?
Yes.
yes, technically, other than 9 where the law enforcement, part was added.
All right.
Where is that, John?
The law enforcement part was added. In the-
Special event policy.
Yeah, special event policy in the fee table, and if we put certain types of events may require law enforcement presence and will be determined by the director or designee.
Oh, I see, okay.
Law enforcement fees are not included in this table and will be determined at the time of the event application. So other than that, everything else is the same as what was presented at the beginning.
Is there a way that you can have some kind of information of what it would be?
Yeah, I can talk with, Sheriff Moore and see if they have I'm sure, depending on the event and the
So when
time, the
when
hours.
somebody fills out the application, you'll be able to handle a sheet, so they will know what they're.
Yeah, well, I'm sure they still do it here. They used to, most law enforcement agencies keep sort of a list of officers who wanna work
Extra time.
extra
Right,
time,
extra time.
and actually they could be paid directly by that could be an alternative instead of it being charged through the county, the
Right, and
event organizer can
that's
pay
kinda
it
why it wasn't,
privately,
kind of included in this part, so that they
Well,
would handle that, yeah.
You know, one of the things I just wanted to make sure is still in their staff, if there's an event that's unusual or very large compared to what we're normal, that we
Right.
feel normal, I don't say an out, it's an opportunity for her to say, look, I need extra help, you know, you got Hell's Angels coming to town, whatnot, they can say, we need one deputy, or, you know, we're gonna bring in 200, whatever it is.
And I think they can accomplish that, because we do that we already do that with touchdown.
South Dakota could keep them.
You know, I'm just,
Yeah, we can
I just wanted to make sure they had the opportunity and we backed her up to say, look, this is a little out of normal, or I can't possibly take 2 teenagers and police 500 people. We need some help.
We just saw that at the football game at the hospital a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
With the particular team, they basically had half the sheriff's department there
Yeah.
because of an incident from last year.
And
Normally they pay 3, that night they paid 11.
Yeah.
We pay a bunch of them for the touchdown club. So he can work that out, Sheriff will.
Yeah, feel free. Questions?
All right, do y'all want to, on 7 and 8, or would y'all like to do this all in one consent agenda? If we talk about 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 together and do it all in one motion? We'll go ahead and iron it out now, with any questions, and I'll just ask for a motion to adopt items 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12.
You feel good on 7 and 8 on getting a multitude, several proposals from different vendors?
I think so, especially, I mean, the uniform and coach one, that one's kind of we already deal with multiple vendors anyway with the various sports, so having them do it for all year, and then the concessions, I feel like there's a few businesses who don't do anything in the evening who may want to pick that up, and if not, then obviously we would still be trying to continue running concessions.
We saw one this weekend, Ms. Harvin, you were there, that, trailer, Wing House, something, some of that trailer, you saw it, yeah. That was a phenomenal little deal.
Right.
The one on Saturday was too, I don't know who it was, but.
So believe it or not, we have mobile vendors in the county.
Right. So we have Kona Ice that already comes out and does, different things for us. So obviously they wouldn't be doing the concessionaire side of everything.
And they give you a percentage.
We do get a percentage back from Kona Ice.
And we've not agreed, that says for proposal.
Yes. So this is
We've
just
not agreed, yeah.
putting it out there, seeing if there's, gauging interest,
Yes, yes.
if anybody has any proposals they want to submit to the county, and then we can review them and, then decide on something. So this is not something, this is kind of a discussion of putting it out there and then getting something back, by basically like the end of November, December, so that we can start this, because this is wouldn't be until March.
And I can help you with the process that these RFPs go through, where we have to post so many, all that good stuff.
Since you made us adopt the agenda, I'll move to revise the agenda to move 7 and 8 to a consent agenda and approve 7 through 12.
I'll second that.
So I have a motion by Mr. Doster, second by Mr. Kirk. Discussion, gentlemen.
Since Commissioner Doster moved to revise the agenda, does he need someone to second that before we vote on it? So you just,
Yeah.
Oh, well, I did it in one motion.
Yeah, you can do it in one
Yeah, you can do it.
motion, it's a practical matter, because it takes, I was hoping this wouldn't come up, but since we have an absence, it's gonna take unanimous of all 3 of these to adopt anything tonight.
Yeah.
So one motion will be fine.
I like the way you produced it, though, because we didn't have to do it twice.
That's right.
I like doing it that way. There was a question while we're in the discussion mode of it. There was a little bit of confusion on the scholarship program after the last meeting, and y'all remember that discussion? It's like where did the funds come, go, how that choice was picked or something. I don't remember, maybe Mr. Adams has said it, he's not here. But somebody had asked, how the scholarship program worked and where the funding come from, because if you sold a sign, a percentage of it went to that, correct?
Basically, it's just gonna be, we have to, so in talking with Kathy right now is we have to keep up with that amount, basically in an Excel sheet, which we've done since we did the Toss for Tots. So we would just, everything still goes into the general fund, but that amount would sort of be designated, I guess, but only in our documentation.
Okay.
Right now, that's just kind of the way that she said we had to do it.
And the scholarships are all based on need, right? I mean.
Yes, sir. Yeah, we've had, in the last week, we've had about 3 come in for basketball.
We have the same thing at the school. Scholarship.
All right.
I had one question, and this written helps me clarify it, but I have to admit, when you make this presentation, this is on the background check policy. I got the higher stuff, and my children are already done with the rest of the rec department, so we're past this. But the fact that we're considering somebody had been arrested after a period of time as coaches or volunteers or whatever, like, oh, wow, man. If I as a parent knew that up front, I'd be thinking 2 or 3 times before our children enroll. And I get where you're going with this. I don't know that I have a better suggestion other than we need to ramp up our recruiting somehow so that this is a non-issue.
Yeah, most of our coaches are returning, and we just get, it's the ones that, you know, are the new ones coming in.
And obviously, yeah, you have to do background checks, but in order to prevent getting in a situation where this even has to be considered, recruiting parents of current participants, so anything you can do to help make sure that we don't even have to go here.
We've tried, so some of the things that we're running into now is, we have coaches who have the same assistant coaches every year, and all those coaches, you know, are good. And then we're like, well, we need head coaches. They're not willing to split up. So we're now trying to figure out, you know, if you're going to be a head coach, you're only going to get one assistant coach. Like, we can't have this, oh, I'm coming in and I want, you know, this parent, and this parent are going to be helping me coach. So I'll automatically get their kid. And we have it with a
It ought to be a lottery system.
Yeah, so
It ought to be a lot. That's the only way you're gonna fix this, and I've seen it with my kids since day one, picking and choosing coaches, and coaches stick, even if my kid's not even on that team, we're all practicing on the same day at the same place. I signed you up not for me to coach you, but for you to learn the game.
Right.
So all coaching should be a lottery. You get 8th grade this year. Well, my kid's in 4th, it don't matter, you got 8.
yeah, and we have some that are really good about that, but then others are like, no.
So, based on that background check, are there certain criminal offenses that are just disqualifiers?
Yes.
Sure.
Yes.
There's a list of
So,
that.
yeah, that's what I'm,
Persons would be disqualified and prohibited if
yeah.
sex
what I thought.
offenses or felonies, and it gets into other felonies
And then it gets kind of
past
down
7
to,
years.
yeah, the
It
number
gets
of
to be a
years, the
term
different
limit.
things.
So, basically, the ones that, if they did have that background, it's
Then
gonna be
they're
something that we're considering minor is what, basically.
Yeah.
What
And
caught my
depending on the
attention, in addition to the fact that this is even considered at all, but on all misdemeanor violent offenses, we actually brought down the requirement from it had to be 7 years past, now it's only 5. And the same thing on all misdemeanor drug and alcohol in the past 3 years or multiple offenses, we're dropping it from a 7-year requirement down to a 5-year requirement.
I think the court system's even doing that. Doesn't make it right, but it just,
No, I mean, then it's just a way
That's not the world
to
we
be able
live
to
in.
try to get.
Like I said, I
coaches,
get where,
so-
I get the need, but like I say, in order to avoid even getting to the point we had to consider this. And I don't know, I know there used to be some training offered, like I say, if you approach me as a parent to coach soccer, I'll be clueless. But we're gonna have a coaches camp on Saturday, on 2 or 3 Saturdays, or, you know, something like, anything like that you can do. And when I was coaching, one of the things that I felt like was somewhat of an omission, a lot of times there are parents that would coach if they were asked. And you know,
We call a lot of
the situation you just mentioned, you got a coach that has his special assistant coach, and then nobody else gets asked.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll be glad to coach a team if you'll let my child come with me, those kind of things, but it's,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we did a lot of calling of this season of coaches from the spring who actually weren't signed up right at the end, and we're like, oh, and they're like, oh, well, I don't know, let me just see if my daughter wants to play, and then, you know, that's how we,
So, but don't all the coaches have to go through clinics to be
So
certified coaches?
they go through a concussion training, and then they go through Darkness to Light, which is the, sexual harassment,
Is it
and
all
sexual abuse
online?
and everything. It's all online.
All online.
What we were trying to do
They have
this
to prove it,
fall, so we have to have those certificates. What we were trying to do this fall was actually set up a one-day clinic for all of our coaches to actually come and do that. So we made sure they did all their background paperwork, they did the trainings, we held all of those, and then have the coaches clinic. So we had the high school coaches come in and run clinics on how they want to see the players developed for their program. So that was something that we fully intended to do this year, this fall, but then with COVID and numbers and everything just being crazy, it just didn't work out. But the same with last year, we had all the coach clinics set up, and then, you know, COVID hit now.
But in 22, you plan on?
Yes,
getting
we're planning on being able to have those one-day clinics, so everybody shows up for that.
Yeah.
So we actually have one of our coaches who works for DFAC, who helped develop the Darkness to Light training. So he was kind of heading that up for us. With that.
So that's good. Yeah, so I would like for you to make sure y'all make that a requirement, considering that if COVID is pretty well out of the picture, then that ought to be a requirement. And if they don't do it, I don't care if they coach 15 years, they don't do the training. They shouldn't.
Yeah, so we make them, even if they've done it for, I know some of them have done it for like MCOA and everything, so I'm like, give me that certificate, like, show me that you've done it.
That's right, yeah.
So.
That's what they do, yeah.
I had a more pedestrian note on this, Mr. Chairman, which I noticed there's a $20 fee for the background check. Who pays
There's
that?
not.
Oh, there's not?
There's not.
Okay.
Okay. It's on the form, but we don't charge that fee.
Okay, all right, good deal. And I had a similar, just to confirm on the sign advertisement sponsorship. So I assume the cost of making the sign is the rec department's once somebody purchases one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then this cost, helps cover that, and then also, again, goes towards the
Scholarship fund, gotcha, okay.
All right. Have a first and second. Actually,
yes.
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 motion carries. All right. Number 13, new business. One thing I have is, some road updates, and this is going to, somewhere. Probably on my desk.
It might be.
Probably is. Anyway, so everybody knows that we had massive flooding since the last time we met. Chambers Road is back open. We're still working on Chambers Road, still working on Roy Woods Road because of the damage that the storm done. Barwick Hill, still working on Barwick Hill. Barwick Hill is closed for through traffic. We have applied for the LMAG emergency grant. I sent y'all out a copy of that. Y'all saw that. It looks like that's not one of the things they decide on. Looks like we're gonna get it. But it's gonna be able to put a bigger basin in over there. Now, you got my answer on why the dollar figure for the labor looked so strange, or was it you that asked that?
So, on the Barber Hill, because the bus could only go so far, that's still...
It's handled, we talked to Kenneth, they found a place they could turn around, but we got it shored up enough to where if they decided to cross it, they could, but it's not open to the public.
I got you.
Because we don't,
It's just
because it's so narrow, we don't
an
take a
emergency
chance.
if they needed.
Only.
Okay.
I have no urgent matters. It still wasn't an urgent matter. Back on roads, I don't remember the name of it, it's there. Margin grading, clipping and cutting.
Alan just said that they were just cutting back around the county and doing, scraping dirt roads and stuff.
We're fixing to start in November, the limbing crews, while the canopies are heavy, going through and raising the canopies, and that's gonna take us a while. Anyway, have no urgent matters. Statements, remarks from anybody here?
I got one more thing on roads before we go.
Sure.
That I want to ask. Do you have any idea about New Haven Church Road, when they're gonna pave that, where the
So,
culvert was at?
yes, they were supposed to start today on our patchwork, but due to the rain, now they're off a week. So now we're projecting them next Monday to start, Planet Gunnels, New Haven, all those roads.
Well, and the only reason I'm asking is 'cause New Haven, we fixed it one time. Oh, yeah, it's about to take the front end out, of my Jeep the other day.
Alan did say this morning that they're running a week behind, which, that's better than a month.
Yeah, all right, so I'll let the folks on the road.
Yeah, Planet Gunnels, same way.
Okay.
Anybody have anything? You're just glad to be here, ain't you, young lady?
I love it. You guys are a riot.
Stephanie, wake Gary up. You got any questions, bud? All right, statement smart from
This is
commissioners.
country commission right here.
Oh, gosh.
Statement smart from commissioners. Hearing none.
I got a thing the other day when Alan was here, we were talking about the T-Splosh and, and I hope it passes. So we can actually put a heavier dent in some of the road work and culverts and right-of-way efforts. He'd mentioned, the possibility of having some assessments done. My suggestion or request would be, can we go ahead and get a real price for that? He had mentioned a dollar amount, I can't remember what it was.
Sure.
But can we go ahead, if we don't, go ahead and get that pricing, and then, I imagine we can pay for that out of, current slot funds.
Well, we can get a quote, of their overall. They can look at it and say, okay, it's roughly gonna cost you this amount and get us close. Because it's probably gonna be $50,000, $60,000, $70,000. So, I would say let's get a rough quote, and then that'll get us past November, and we'll know for sure.
Well, my point being, from a
Either
timing
way,
standpoint, is, and, whether it's a contract or a PO or whatnot, it can be contingent on T-Splosh passing, but whoever we're thinking about working with and getting those professional services done, and have that list done, have it ready to go, have an objective list already. Either, it's not gonna go to waste, it's either
Sure.
gonna help us either future LMIG or other conditions.
Sure.
But if T-Splosh passes, then as soon as we start collecting money, we can look at what we need to do and start trying to build that inventory instead of waiting and
I
then
agree.
getting past paving season and knowing, we didn't bond anything, did we?
Didn't.
So, I mean, it's still,
Yeah.
but it still get us a head start on kind of where we think we might need to go.
Absolutely, have no problem with it. We stuck these maybe in y'all's packet. This is some stuff that they generated today, I think by your request.
Mm-hmm.
It was really hard. It's hard to do monthly. It's easy to do yearly, but because monthly you'll show a large increase in 1 month, and then only because the bills hadn't hit yet, it's hard to do the calendar year. I was actually going to put one together that showed from 18 to 21 and show you over the years how they had tracked on expenditures and revenues but she said we didn't have the technology to do the month by month. We could just do a best guess.
And that's close enough. It helps me just see it in one spot. And then again, like where fund balance is, we talk about at the end of the year, but really the low point in the fund balance is prior to collection start coming in. So it helps me. It may help y'all, I don't know, but it helps me.
Yeah, what I like is the monthly report. It's about 5 or 6 pages into that monthly report. There's a particular line that I watch for, and it try to keep me on track. But But yeah, the graph's great. Anybody have any urgent matters? I put it away, I don't know what's that.
I do have a question.
Sure.
I can email you if you want me to do that. I ride around town and everything, and I see the public notices signs.
Mm-hmm.
They are not big enough. I mean, 'cause they're usually off the road, so you have to stop your car to be able to see them, and that's if, no traffic is coming or anything, and once you see it, I don't understand all the terminology that's on it, R1, R3. I'm a college graduate, so could we write it out a little bit and make the signs a little bigger?
Honestly, for you to clearly understand what everything on that sign means, it would take a billboard.
Well, yeah.
And I wasn't trying to be short with you by answering that. Most of the time, the public notices are for a particular rezone. And it's not necessarily for the guy that lives in Colbert that read it over in Danielsville, because it wouldn't affect him.
Right.
For the houses it's directly affects, it comes out in the paper a couple weeks early, lets you know that there's a potential rezone at this address. That is state law that it must be posted, so it affects normally the people that lives in that direct vicinity.
Right.
What's a little convoluted is, we're on that word tonight,
Yeah.
convoluted is nobody requires where you have to put it. It just says you must place this on your property so that people can see it.
It's supposed to be in a conspicuous location.
That's right. So it doesn't say put it beside a driveway where you can pull in and read it, or you go ahead and put it 150 yards down. The state, nobody sets that standard. We only post it because the state told us we had to post it.
And there's no way of changing that?
Let me give you a little more information that might be helpful. Anytime there's, and I think most of these you're referring to are probably rezone or conditional use
Yes.
request. All of the.
The yellow ones or the red, white, and blue ones?
The white and
Yeah,
blue.
that's
Okay.
rezone, yeah. All of the adjacent property owners are notified in writing.
Okay, so
So
I didn't know
that is very specific. And it is the intent, the way the ordinance is written, designed for that sign is supposed to be in a conspicuous location, just so anybody passing by would be made aware of it. And, the concept is, if it strikes your attention, then you make a call and find out exactly what is going on.
Okay, is the number on there?
Yes.
Yes, it's
I don't
it's
know,
on
if
there.
I just,
Whoops.
if it's in traffic, I don't stop.
One thing that we do, and this is, most of the planning and zoning commissioners actually will go to a site to see when a rezone is occurring. And sometimes you'll have somebody that maybe doesn't want to be too conspicuous about it, and say if it's on two road frontages, they might put it on the less traveled road. And
I think it's gonna be controversial.
there have been more than one occasion when somebody will point that out, and a decision will be postponed until that sign is relocated to be more appropriately noticeable.
Okay,
And
all right, yeah,
so,
I just.
but yeah, that's a good point. I thought the signs were big enough, but I know what they're saying, so.
And if one interests you, you're encouraged to come to the public hearing, which the date is posted on.
Yeah.
Not this one, but to the planning and zoning hearing, is that what you're talking about?
Well, there's a hearing on planning and zoning, and then when.
It passes, they come
then it
here.
comes to-
Right.
Yeah, both dates are on there, I think.
And if,
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, thank you.
and if you really wanna know a whole lot about it, you can go to the website and look at the planning and zoning and read all the, where it tells you what R1s and all that is.
And where's
And-
that website?
It's the Madison County government
Website.
Okay.
government website. And, then it's real helpful if you can't sleep well, because if you
Yeah.
get into it for a while, it will put you right to sleep.
Okay, thank you so much. If you have any questions.
I'd hate to say, but it's a little dated also, but the definitions for all those A1s and
Yeah.
R1s is on there.
Yeah,
And the reason I'd ask is because we do post a yellow one also, but that's normally for building inspections. Somebody gonna build a house, they post a yellow one, and it's for the checkoff list
I've
for
seen
the.
those.
Those are very small.
Yes,
That's
they are.
primarily for the inspector that's coming in.
That's correct.
That is specifically for him, so it's not necessarily public notice.
Thank you.
Now, there's another one coming out now through Christopher. It'll be for, if a condemned type property or something.
That's right, yeah.
It'll have a whole new list of.
Hopefully there won't be many of those.
No.
we're a few months from being at that point in the process on any of them, so.
His court system has became, the judges limited him to 4 hours now.
Yeah.
It's that long. I wanna say it's normally about 25 is in there, but again, most of them comply, and it gets thrown out. So, and that's the ultimate goal. So,
Just one additional quick comment.
Sure.
Mr. Lee Mitchell, who is a member of the planning commission, I'll give you his number so if you have any questions. But we've got a sort of a different variance request to be coming before us next time. The planning commission heard it in their public hearing, last week, I guess. Lee did some extra background work on that and also involved Chris, and this is the second one he's been involved in. It's just very helpful. Anyway, I appreciate the role that he's playing and you know, the active, it just encourages us here to know that planning and zoning is taking such an active role. And
Yeah.
he's also taking the lead on getting more information, reaching different sources to get more information. That is really very helpful. So anyway, I appreciate that, Mitchell. That's L-E-E Mitchell.
I appreciate it too, and then also, I talked to our District 4 representative, and I appreciate it. And I think that, mentioned that you did have some discussion there, so that was very good for you.
all right. Any, about the paperwork, you tell already, it's been
Executive
Monday.
session.
We don't need an executive session.
No executive session, no real estate acquisition, no personal matters, potential litigations, that's the one we don't need. Adjournment, motion to adjourn. Zach, you didn't have a question, did you? When you gonna become an investigative reporter? I'm waiting on you to just say, now, what y'all planning on doing about this?
I wanna be the first one to go on record saying a politician asset.
First one in history.
You know, but I will say that you need to read Zach's editorials if you haven't been reading, because they have been, especially here the last few weeks.
Last few weeks, what he said.
No, I did have, but it is especially good. I put an adjective in front of it. Tell them what that means. They don't know.
Full week, what you talking about?
I did not.
I did not know that was his boss.
Yeah, that's the owners. That's the owners.
What's the unusual variance?
Oh,
okay. Oh, okay, I thought we'd already done that one.
Okay.
It's coming up, okay.
And they unanimously.
That's why I thought, I read that in the minutes.
I was very happy with that. When a man owns all the land, and there ain't nobody critical of it, it don't make no sense on some technicality. I ain't gonna like you. I'm like you did, huh? You know, like you, the reason I like you so much is because of why.
I think we've made a lot of progress in 10 months.